Yo, it's been a while, right? My name is ToonWorld, and in today's video, we're going to be showcasing to y'all how to build Gold Pride Punk. Alright, so with every recipe, you need a good foundation, right? Well, in our case, that foundation is the punk cards. To start us off, I'm playing 3 copies of the No Punk Zamin and 3 copies of Foxy Toon. Now, if you're even vaguely familiar with what punk cards do, this should be self-explanatory, and that is because Zaymin is your core searcher for the deck, and then Foxy Toon essentially tutors out your entire deck. So no reason to play any less than 3 of either, and that's all I'm going to say about those 2 cards. Now, the 2 Deer Note here might be surprising to all of you. The reason why I bumped it up to 2 is because 1, we lost Baron, and with Baron's loss, that prompted me to cut Fenrir, rip our boy. So I had 3 extra deck spots, or 3 main deck spots to fill, and I decided to put 1 Deer Note in. 1, because into the Runic Stun matchup, if your 1 copy gets banished, that really sucks. And 2, because having 2 is honestly not awful. I think this card's still a great extender, being a pseudo double summon for those hands where you might have opened multiple copies of your level 3 punk names, which are essentially just normal summons unless you have Itelli. Furthermore, there are some games where things drag on long enough to where you do need the second Deer Note to combo, so I felt like 2's fine. You can disagree with me in the comments if you'd like, but having played this deck for as long as I have, I still like 2. Otherwise, for the remaining punk names, we are playing 1 Spider, 1 Wagon, and then the 1 Shirakusai. These 3 also self-explanatory relative to these 2. The 1 Spider, 1 Wagon, we're only playing 1 punk trap in Gabu, and then the 1 copy of Extreme Session, so you don't need multiple copies of search, even if their effects might come in handy. For example, there are a lot of situations where, funny enough, I've summoned Wagon, and then my opponent tries to imperm it, and I'm just like, okay, I can get the free draw. That draw does come up, but yeah, no reason to play more than 1 copy of each. Shirakusai, I can see an argument for 2 or 3, but my logic against that is there's so many more people playing Effect Negation in this format. I'm even playing 3 copies of Valor and Imprimis, you'll see. And so having to make Rising Carp in this format, you run the risk of it just being hit by anything. And if it does get hit by anything, then you've just wasted 2 of your resources in hand to make that thing. And you probably can't do too much more unless your hand is absolute gas and you can make the Gold Pride line over here. So 1 Shirakusai is perfectly fine for all intensive purposes. Alright, so that's the punk engine itself. I'll talk about the spells and traps involved with this engine later, but for now, we'll move on to the extra stuff you'd like to put into your recipe. That's obviously a real cooking term, you know, I'm a pro chef, obviously. Michelin star restaurant over here. So for the supporting engine, the extra stuff that we want to put in our recipe, that is the Gold Pride cards. And for those Gold Pride names, we are playing 2 Captain Carry and 3 copies of Leon. These are our level 3 bodies for the Gold Pride package. The 2 Captain Carry, 3 Leon is a ratio that I've frequently seen, mainly because Leon itself is really good to open. It helps you extend through stuff since it can just reborn a Gold Pride on summon. It does suck that you are locked into Gold Prides after you do that, but you can usually play around that. And then 2 Captain Carry, I can feel the temptation to play 3 just because you can make synchro plays with Captain Carry versus Leon, which is obviously a tuner. You're already playing 3, 4, 5, 6 tuners via your punk engine. However, there aren't too many synchros that I'm playing for that particular situation. Just being able to make level or rank 3 XYZs is enough with Leon, so 3, 2 is good enough. Otherwise, we have 2 Rollerballer and 1 Nitro Head to round out our Gold Pride names. So 2 Rollerballer, again, same vein where since we had cut Fenrir, we needed extra stuff to put in, and the 2 Rollerballer was coming up quite a bit. 1, because it's a level 5 body, you can summon it to make Dragon Drive in those situations where you can't access Deer Note for whatever reason. 2, having an additional copy Rollerballer to reveal off of the trap card increases your chances of summoning it off the trap card, and really Rollerballer is one of the better summons. Leon's good, but There are a lot of situations where you can only make Star Leon, and that card isn't as good as a suck up whatever your opponent puts out. So that was also beneficial. Finally, I don't know, the guy's just cool. That's all I'm gonna say. Netrhead. So for my locals, there are quite a bit of Kashtira players still, surprisingly. This card hits that particular deck since you can summon a token to their field, and it makes it harder for them to just summon out their Unicorn, summon out their Fenrir, and start dismantling your board, because that's what Kashtira does for some reason in this format. Also though, having a level 8 body to freely summon has come up quite a bit. The only rank 8s that I'm playing, as you'll see, are the one copy of Titanic Galaxy and one copy of Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, but being able to make those on demand pretty easily through your gold prime package is pretty nice, because they can bait out, say, set spells that your opponent has. Maybe they have a book or something that forces it out, or number 90 obviously forces out monster negates they have, or help you play through hand traps. So yeah, this is my ratios of gold prides. 8 seems appropriate so that you have enough to play with while still having enough names to reveal off of the trap card, and that's that. So speaking of hand traps, let's talk about the hand traps now. We're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom, 3 copies of Veiler, 2 copies of Ghost Ogre. Let me straighten this out because my OCT is gonna kill me later. And then 3 copies of Imperm. So 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 2 Ogre, 3 Imperm. The 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm. Effect negation is pretty strong in this format. You can just shotgun it against Snake Eyes, and sometimes they can't play through that, strangely, for some situations. Also, this card can hit things like Brandon. You hit the Quem, the Aluber, hits a ton of random things like Kashtira. Effect negation is basically pretty solid. Oh, and then some situations you can hit the Tenpai Dragons themselves, as long as you're not in the battle phase. Not that this thing can even be activated during the battle phase, but basically what I'm trying to say here is that effect negation, pretty good. 3 Ash Blossom does play into Hida, but I feel like the card's still just worth playing. Obviously, being able to hit Branded Fusion is a big plus. As you'll hear in a second, I just dislike that deck a lot. I'm sorry, Branded players. So I want to make sure the Branded Fusion does not go off. And then the 2 Ghost Ogre, surprisingly good this format, just because you can hit things, say Masquerena. You can hit Appaloosa because that thing is once per chain, so they can't negate the Ghost Ogre, you chain it to it. You can hit the Tenpai Field spell. You can hit Nightmare Throne second effect. You can hit the trap card for Yubel if they have it face up already. There's just a bunch of random things you can hit with Ghost Ogre that I think merits trying it out this format. And with a deck like this, I can search it via Dragon Drive. 2 seems appropriate. Otherwise, the only other main deck monster we're playing, Imperm, is the honorary one here, just because it feels awkward to group this with its spells and traps when it's a hand trap. We're playing 1 Psychic Wielder. And the Wielder, it's just nice to search in the cases you need a level 3 extender. Obviously searchable off of the Dragon Drive, just like all your other level 3 Psychics and Ghost Ogre. And you can summon this. It can help you pop things since its effect lets you pop stuff once used as synchro material. Overall, it's a pretty nice card. You could play Psychic Tracker now that we have extra space, but I didn't feel like it was 100% necessary because we already have quite a few level 3 extenders, including Italia, which you're about to see. So yeah, that's mainly it for the main deck monsters. Otherwise, we'll get on with the spells and traps. Spells and traps. This should be very quick, so to save some time for the video, 3 E-Telly, 1 Extreme Session, 2 Bear Luck next time. I feel like these are all absolutely necessary. E-Telly's your great extender, Extreme Session's your Pot of Greed, and then 2 Bear Luck next time seems like the appropriate ratio so that you have 1 copy for when you combo off, and then the second copy if need be, since your carry can recycle itself. 2 tactics. The 2 tactics here, hand traps, I do feel like are prevalent as I stated prior. So being able to play through hand traps by activating this, maybe sniping one of your opponent's cards in hand if you have enough gas to keep playing, or searching for more gas, great card. Otherwise, 1 Start Your Engines, 1 Dangerous Gabu. Your one-ofs, that's all. Let's get on with the extra deck. With the extra deck, there are a few cards that are more or less just staple to any Punk/Gold Pride deck, and so given that we are playing a hybrid combination of the two, it's the same for both. So 1 Rising Carp, 1 Pinballer, 1 Chariot Carry, 1 Dragon Drive, 1 Starleon, 1 Psychic and Punisher, 1 Amazing Dragon. Absolutely necessary to play. At least play 1 copy of each. Not going to keep going on that mark. Otherwise, for the other extra deck cards, which vary from staples to tech options, One Little Knight, this is actually my friend's. I don't have a copy anymore, but thank you for lending it to me, my friend. One Little Knight, great card. 1 Typhon, helps going second. 1 Titanic Galaxy. I find myself making this quite frequently. I know that you can play around Nibiru by making Photon Lord with the combo that you usually make with this deck. I can showcase to you in a second, but with Nibiru being less of a threat nowadays, you know, Tempai can play through it since they play during the battle phase. Snake Eyes can play through it with certain hands. Like, I don't feel like a lot of people are main decking it, so this card comes up, but not as much as you'd think. The Break Sword, however, does come up. There are a lot of situations where I'll have enough gas to make a rank 3 and then also do my Punk line or my Gold Pride line. So this is pretty nice. It obviously helps you make Zeus over here too. So good set of cards to include. Otherwise, the remaining Synchro monsters we're playing are Dragite and Trishula. So the Dragite, I still love this card as a flex level 8 Synchro spot. A lot of people don't realize you can make it and make it live, but you have Chariot Carry, which is a water. You have Rising Carp, which is a water. You also have Chariot or Captain Carry, which is a water herself. So there's a lot of ways you can make this card live, and you just slap it sometimes when you have Deer Note and a level 3 body on field, and that completely captures your opponent off guard. Suddenly they have 1 less spell and trap to play with. So good card. Trishula. Now, the story behind this card, I feel like we actually do need a level 9 Synchro for this deck. I've been playing this deck for quite a bit, and even though previously I wasn't playing one, I started to realize that the situation where you have all the bodies to make level 9 Synchro comes up quite a bit. There are a lot of situations where I'm like, okay, I can't really do much with this, but if I had a level 9 Synchro, I could, right? So my initial thoughts were either Shen Shen or Navy Dragon Mech, because those are a lot easier to make. But for the funnies, because I'm a funny guy, I swear, Trishula, I saw this in my bulk from my Crystron deck, and I was like, okay, this card could come up, you know? This situation here, it happens. Might as well try this card out. Long story short, I haven't made this card at all, but I do think it will catch people off guard, so for now, I'll play it still. Otherwise, I think you could easily play a copy of Shen Shen or Navy Dragon Mech, as aforementioned. You could even play Vermilion Dragon Mech, though I feel like the fact that it doesn't do anything during your opponent's turn kind of voids its purpose versus the other two I mentioned. So this is the extra deck, and now we are going to get on with the... I don't even know why I'm trying to organize this. We're going to get on with the side deck. Alright, so for the side deck, this is going to vary locals to locals. For my locals, 3 Droll, 2 Nibiru, 3 Ogre, 3 Bell, 1 Duster, 3 Cyclone, and 3 the Black Coat that laughs felt appropriate. So 3 Droll hits Voiceless Voice. Nibiru hits a ton of random combo decks. Also, you can still put it in against something like Snake Eyes, because some people are bad and won't be able to play through it, or their hand will generally just not be able to play through it, so Nibiru is still nice. The 3 Bell, on the topic of not liking Brandon that much, this card does hit Brandon in red, and there are still quite a bit of Brandon Chimera players at my locals for whatever reason, so this card has saved me a ton. Realistically though, you could easily just play 3 Druid Worm, or 2 Druid Worm, 1 Magnemite, or 3 Crow. Those would also help you hit Tier Element a lot easier, or just hit random other things. But Bell's nice. Oh, and this card also hits Runic Fountain, so that's why I like it. The 1 Duster, the 3 Cyclone. So these 2 cards, obviously you need some back removal for random things like Labyrinth, or for Runic Floodgates, or Runic Fountain itself. Duster is Duster. And then finally, we gotta talk about this card. So the Black Goat Laughs is goated. And yes, I was waiting the entire video to make that joke. Basically, I was playing D-Barrier at first, really don't like Branded, it also hits Voiceless Voice, but I was beginning to realize that that card was really only good into those matchups. Sure, you can hit Tenpai, but they can still play through it in some ways. So this card felt nice because you could play it into any matchup, call whatever you want, and there's some situations where it actually is just D-Barrier in those particular situations. This card is pretty nice for that reason. And then obviously it still does stuff in the graveyard, so it's like insane value for what it is. So I just like the card, and I think that it merits itself in this side deck. So, yep, that is the side deck, and let's quickly showcase to you a test hand so that you understand where I'm getting at in terms of this deck being broken. So y'all need a test hand to round out this video, right? Well, let's say you draw into one Captain Carry, one E-Tele, right? This is full combo. And how is that achievable? Well, we're gonna activate E-Tele first, summon out a copy of Xaymin. The Xaymin can then activate. It's not an on-summon effect, by the way, it's an ignition effect. We'll search a copy of Shirakusai by paying 600. We have now 600 less life points. We'll normal summon Shirakusai, use its effect, fuse these two into a copy of Rising Carp. You can summon it in the EMZ or wherever. There's no zones here anyways, so it's not like you'll know where they are. The Rising Carp can then tribute itself, summon from your deck one copy of Wagon, one copy of Deer Note. Wagon can pay 600 again. At this point, you've lost 1800 life points. You'll grab your Extreme Session. Before you make Dragon Drive, activate your field spell over here. Synchro summon these two into a copy of Dragon Drive. Two things will happen here. You'll go Dragon Drive Chain Link 2, Deer Note Chain Link 1. You want to block Bell if possible, because at this point, if they haven't ashed your Rising Carp, they probably won't ash Dragon Drive. So that's the Chain Link order. Deer Note, Dragon Drive will activate first, pay another 600 life points, search your Madam Spider. Deer Note will summon back the Rising Carp. And then from the field spell, we'll draw one. Because we're a good player, we'll draw Ash Blossom. So, at this point, you can choose to make Titanic Galaxy, or sorry, Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord if you're scared of Nibiru or whatever hand traps, because maybe your opponent is weird and they decide to hold off your hand traps for the Gold Pride engine. However, in this case, I'm going to be making the Titanic Galaxy because I'm greedy. We'll make it over here. At this point, we can activate the field spell, banish a punk name from graveyard. I'll banish Deer Note in this situation. Summon Madam Spider from hand. Pay another 600 life points. At this point, we have lost 3k life points. Grab ourselves Dangerous Gabu. Extreme Session is a broken card. It is twice per turn for whatever reason Konami wanted it to be. Thank you, Konami. We're going to draw a second card. Because we're a good player, we'll draw into Ghost Ogre. So that's already 3 interruptions, or 4 total. But we can go beyond. And we're going to summon Captain Carry here because we're at less life points than our opponent, unless our opponent decides to activate a Hero Lives for whatever reason. We're going to grab, start your engines, grab or to hand, but we're going to overlay these two up here, make our copy of Chariot Carry, and then Chariot Carry is going to activate, detach the material, grab ourselves Better Luck Next Time. Since we're less life points, we can choose the Foolish Body. I will choose the Foolish Body in the form of Rollerballer. And then from here, we'll activate Better Luck Next Time. We're going to lose 1500 life points to search Leon. Leon can then activate in a separate chain from hand, summon itself. On field, it will summon back the Rollerballer. Then from here, we can set our Start Your Engines, Dangerous Gabu, have these two cards in hand. End phase, Chariot Carry will forcibly tag out because of its effect. We'll summon back Chariot or Captain Carry from grave. We're electing to summon it from grave just because even though you could deck thin, I want to make sure I have enough names for Start Your Engines in case I accidentally draw additional names. But since this is a test hand and we're a good player, for Better Luck Next Time's effect, a Gold Pride name is returned to your extra deck. We're going to draw Veiler. Ta-da! Yeah, so basically you can see if this deck goes off, you can potentially completely nuke your opponent off the board. How are you going to play through this? You're going to need like Dark Ruler, Harpy's Feather Duster, Snake Eyes Ash, plus cross out plus something your mom, like honestly, like this shit is pretty hard to play through if you get it off. And that's one of the reasons why I like Gold Pride right now. It's one of the few decks where it's like one of the good consistent combo decks where even if you're stopped at certain points, you can still play through stuff. And then if you don't need to play through anything, like if your opponent has nothing, you can set up boards like this and completely blow away your opponent. So let me get you a quick deck list of the entire deck minus the side deck. Yep, so this is the entire deck list, just so that you have a good image of everything in one spot, as opposed to some deck profiles which kind of just, you know, put out one card at a time. At this point, the only thing I have to say is thank you so much for tuning in. I might have sounded a little bit low energy. That is because I'm a little tired making this video, but I'm happy, of course, to share with all of you this updated Gold Pride Punk deck profile so that you all have a grasp of where things are with the deck right now. Also, so that you know that even though I'm pumping out all these video essays, I still love this deck to bits and am still playing it. So if you have any comments or questions about this list, if you have any suggestions, please drop them down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, I will cue the outro.